Hi there, my name is Ollie Otter, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a recap of what I read in 2025. So last year I read about 48 books, give or take. My tracking wasn't always the greatest, so I read about 48. My goal was 50, so I count that as hitting it. I think I was pretty close. The shortest book I read was 120 pages, and that was Nick and Charlie by Alice Osman, the novella, it's somewhat related to the Heartstopper graphic novels, but, not really. I don't think it's canon anymore. And the longest book I read was 497 pages. It was The Mysterious Benedict Society. That was a book that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. So I wanted to go back and reread it, but honestly, it wasn't as good as I remember it being. According to Goodreads, the book I read that was shelved, that other people read the most, was The Hunger Games, obviously. If you know me at all, you know that I'm completely obsessed with the Hunger Games franchise. I read the books all the time. I watch the movies literally once a month at least. I love the Hunger Games, so very happy that other people are also still obsessed with it. The average rating for my books this year was a 4-star, which I think is pretty high. I am definitely kind of generous with my star ratings. I'd hardly ever give 1 to 2 star reviews, so yeah, seeing that it's 4 stars is not surprising to me. The highest rated book I read was on Goodreads, rated by everyone, was the second Warrior Cats graphic novel at a 4.5 star average. So I guess I read pretty shitty books this year. No one else liked the books I read this year, but I liked them, and that's what matters. I wrote a review for The Pumpkin Spiced Cafe by Lori Gilmore, and I gave it a 4 stars. Honestly, it was probably more like 3, maybe 2.5. It really wasn't that good. They're kind of really trashy romance books. She writes 1 billion of them in a year, so they're just garbage. I'm sorry if you're the author. I'm sorry. I do really enjoy your books. I am on my second one now. I'm liking it less than the first, but I honestly still really like it. So yeah, I'm not a hater, I swear. Lori Gilmore fans, I'm not a hater. I'm one of you. The books just objectively, though, are not very good. The other review I left was for Red, White, and Royal Blue, and Casey McQuinston, I am a hater. Okay? No offense, but this was the most dog water book I've read, I think, all year. It was a 2-star for me. It shouldn't have even been 2 stars. It should have been 0 stars. I fucking hate this book. I hate this book so bad. It is so poorly written. Do not read this book. If you want to get the story, go watch that. Go watch the TV show or the movie. I can't remember which one it is. Go watch that instead. Or better yet, just pretend like it doesn't exist. It's not good. Sorry, I am a hater. So that's all my Goodreads data, but I also log my stuff on Storygraph, so we are going to take a look at that data now. It'll be, again, on the screen somewhere. So this app says I only read 41 books, which obviously I forgot to log some, or something happened that they didn't get logged. It was probably ones that I had repeat read, like Hunger Games, that didn't get logged. But I read 12,520 pages, according to this, and the average time I took to finish a book was 18 days, which is really long, and that's just because there were a couple books I had that took me 2 months to finish, because it was really slow to get through. The moods I like to read are mostly adventurous, emotional, and dark. Which I would agree with. I would say that's pretty accurate to the kind of books I like to read. Pacing wise, a lot of medium and fast pace, not a lot of slow paced, which again, true. I hate slow paced reads. I really do. If you don't hook me right away, I have a really hard time getting through your book. Page numbers, pretty evenly split between less than 300 and then 3 to 500, and only 2% 500 plus. Yeah, I read a lot of YA books, so I think that's pretty reasonable. A lot of them aren't going to be more than 500 pages. And as you can see, I heavily prefer fiction. No surprises there. I've always preferred fiction, but I am trying to read more nonfiction books this year because I read a couple I really liked. I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That was such a beautiful book. Oh my god, I don't even have the words to describe how much I loved that book. I will be reading it again this year. And if you haven't read it, go read it right now. It's, oh my god. Major trigger warnings for, like, everything under the sun, though. Jeanette McCurdy has lived a crazy fucking life. Anyway, I want to read, the first nonfiction book I'm planning on reading this year is Bottom of the Period by Nia Sue, from Dance Moms, because I was a Dance Moms fan growing up. I'm the same age as the girls, and I lived literally like a few streets away from where it was filmed at the time, so that was a big part of my, like, growing up. So I'm really interested to read her perspective of the whole situation and everything that went on. For genres, it's really high in horror and comics because I was binge reading through the Walking Dead comic books. I got to issue number, like, 20, I think, before I kind of stopped. But I do want to continue those this year, too. I was really enjoying the Walking Dead comics. I think they're really well written, and the artwork is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Following those two, we have young adult and romance, which, again, that's mostly what I read, is young adult. And this year, I got really into shitty romance books. Looking at you, Allie Hazelwood. I'm looking at you. Format, I mostly read books on my iPad. That's what we're doing this on. I mostly read books on my iPad, so I have a really high percentage of digital books. And then I did listen to a bit of audiobooks at the beginning of the year, but I kind of stopped doing that. I'm not a huge fan of listening to audiobooks, honestly. And then print is only 2%. But this year I'm hoping it'll be more. I've been actually getting the physical copies of books from my library. This is what I'm reading right now. My most read authors are Robert Kirkman, that is the author of the Walking Dead comics. Holly Jackson wrote A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy. Those were also really good. They were, I think, all 5 stars. All 4 or 5 for sure. I think they might have been all 5 stars. John Green, Aaron Hunter, Alice Osman. These are all people who I am always reading their stuff. It is never a surprise that these authors are on my list. Here you can see a little chart of the number of books I read and the pages. I read 41 books and 12,520 pages, like I said before, but here's it split between the months. And my average rating was 4.1 stars on here. And yeah, as you can see, I rate most of the books I read, I rate 4 stars or above. What was my 2-star review? Oh, Listen to Your Sister. Yeah, I didn't like that book. I found the writing really confusing. Like, I could never figure out what was quite going on in the story. It was really hard to follow. I really didn't like it. It's by Nina Veal. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name wrong, but I didn't like your book. Sorry. 2.5 star, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Again, I would move that down now. I think it was really bad. 3-star had 2. It was A Court of Thorns and Roses. This was like the big book on Book Talk for quite a while. And I read it because everyone said it was so good. and it like low-key sucked. Like just a little bit. Like it just wasn't very good. I thought the romance was like really forced. Some of the shit they said to each other was so just cringe inducing. I did not like that book. Not really. It was like it got a 3 stars because I was able to get through the whole thing. Barely, but I was able to finish the book, so it got 3 stars. The Outsiders was also a 3 star for me. This was another one where I read this as a kid, obviously in school, and I went back to read it again to see if it held up, and honestly, I really didn't think it did. Like, it didn't hit nearly as hard as it did for me back then, and I think that's due to a lot of factors, but oh well, it got a 3 star from me. My 5-star reads go as follows. Sunrise on the Reaping. Need I say more? It's perfect. It's perfection. Suzanne Collins can do no wrong. Warriors, The Broken Code, A Light in the Mist, number 6. I'm not gonna go on a Warriors tangent right now. That's just, it is what it is. You just gotta accept it. It's a good book. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Classic. Holds up perfectly. The other ones that I read that didn't hold up, John Green got it. He nailed it. Holds up perfectly. Stoneblind by Natalie Haynes. I think that's how you say her name. I loved this book. This is a retelling of the Medusa myth from some interesting perspectives. And I just really loved this book. I thought it was beautifully written. I thought it really was just moving. Sorry, it's hard to find the words to really talk about that book. It really touched me. I really enjoyed that book. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, another classic, and honestly, it does still hold up. Warriors, the graphic novel, 2, The Prophecies Begin, number 2. And like I said earlier, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, number 3 got 5 stars from me. It was one of the most satisfying conclusions to a trilogy I have read in so long. It was really, really amazing. Yeah, so those were my 5-star reads. Everything else was like a 4, 4.5, somewhere around there. Anyways, that is what I read in 2025. Going into 2026, I may have said earlier, but I am reading The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And honestly, I'm loving this book so far. It is so good. It is very fast-paced, draws you right in. I'm reading this for a book club in my friend's Discord server, and we're actually meeting in a few days to talk about the first, 6 or so chapters. Except we all read ahead, because it was so good! So we're going to be talking about a little more than that. I'm currently also reading The Cinnamon Bun Bookshop by Laura Gilmore. This is another one of those, trashy romances. They're, completely based on, she picks, a trope or two and then writes a whole story about that trope. Good old-fashioned fanfic writing. And I love that for her, honestly. It's kind of iconic. And I find them pretty enjoyable, even if they're a little silly at times. Those were the books I read in 2025 and what I'm reading going into 2026. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap about some of my favorite books from this year. I hope maybe you found some recommendations to kick off your reading in 2026. And yeah, in the comment section, let me know, what is your goal? What is your reading goal for 2026? It doesn't necessarily have to even be anything big. It could just be, I want to read a book this year. That would be fantastic. Everyone should be reading at least a book. I wish that for everyone. I wish everyone a very good book. Okay, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!